anymore. I'm just starting. No video game, no nothing in the background. I'm just doing it, and whatever. I'm just not gonna touch anything. Oh
Tell me that
man.
twice.
Oh man. Let me make sure it's actually running on everything. And yeah, yeah. All right. So we're back. We're back, everybody. It's third time's the charm. Let's go. I guess the Henderson Silver Knights don't want me to talk about them, but I will talk about them regardless. So notable alumni, because I keep trying to get to this. Barry Melrose, who's ESPN's hockey guy.
Hey,
Bob Bugner, who's current head coach in the NHL. Gerard Gallant, who's a head coach in the NHL, of course, and Panthers famously sent him in a taxi when he got fired. A lot of Detroit Red Wings. Thomas Holstrom, Ken Holland played for them as well. And of course, you know, Hall of Fame Detroit Red Wings GM, put together all those good teams. Chris Osgood, you got Adam Oates, Darren McCarty. Back when they were in San Antonio, they were affiliated with the Florida Panthers, so a few guys that are recognizable in the NHL today. Even the Coyotes, they were also affiliated with Coyotes. You got Evgeny Dadonov, Oliver Ekman Larson, Rocco Grimaldi, Danny Heatley, but I think that was a rehab assignment more than anything else. Jacob Markstrom and Keith Yandel all passed through San Antonio while they were there. They are called the Silver Knights, one because the Golden Knights are the NHL team, and that only makes sense, gold, silver. But also, Nevada is known as the Silver State, so that makes sense for them. And then you also have that last season, the AHL was kind of weird. Some teams didn't play, some teams did play. The Pacific Division did play, and they had an actual playoff, not for the Calder Cup in the AHL. They just played a playoff series, and they lost. It was basically a division championship, and Henderson lost their division championship final to Bakersfield Condors. So there you go. They play at the Dollar Loan Center, Charles. Or actually, they will play at the Dollar Loan Center. It hasn't been built yet. It will open up next year. It holds 6,019 people. It will also be home to the Indoor Football League team, the Vegas Nighthawks, which is also owned by the Golden Knights. So they have a whole night thing going with the team. And the Big West Conference basketball championships will be held there as well. They currently play at the Orleans Arena in Paradise, Nevada, and they will be moving into their new home at the end of this current season. So they will move in this season, just at the end of the season. And their current arena is the former home to ECHL team, arena football team, a lingerie football league team, an arena soccer team, and they hosted the 2021 U.S. Figure Skating Championship bubble. So that's it for that. And you know what, Charles? I'm just sick of this. Let's just go to the freaking award from our non-sponsors. I don't know how long this one's gonna last, so let's just get into it. People, places, things, concerts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last week. Oh, man. I'm frazzled with all these technical difficulties. It completely has
I'll
thrown me
take
off
it.
my game, to be honest. Because I don't know what not to touch on my computer at the moment.
I feel like I just need to know.
All right, so
I mean, I can lead it. I can
yeah,
lead it
yeah,
for
go
you
ahead, man.
if that would make your life easier.
Yeah,
So,
just for now. Yeah, just gotta recollect myself.
Francisco, sometimes, I've been doing video games too much, but that is what prominent in my life, then so it is. It is prominent. It does what it has to do, and it goes from there. And some games are very intense. Some games absorb a lot of my time. Some games teach you how to be a father. If you heard our show last week, Resident Evil Village. Congratulations, Andrew. We're happy for you
Octodad
for being
as
about
well. Yeah.
Octodad. That's another one. Not our Andrew, different Andrew was why Betty shout out came from. But not all of us can be a Ethan Winters. Sometimes we have to get out of spooky season and go to a very relaxed kind of environment. And as I play right now, because I realize I'm not doing all the bonuses because I have a gem requirement,
Yep.
and I'm not going to replay the stuff to play the bonus levels. So this is where I part ways with it. But as we speak, this game taxes the brain a little bit, not too complicated. This game is cute and cuddly and good for the soul. This game is charming. This game is good for anybody who has a Nintendo Switch or for anybody who just needs something a little bit different. If you have the opportunity to play it one time on a Wii U, you get a second opportunity on a Nintendo Switch. This game is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. You, Toad, and your buddy Toadette are on the hunt for stars, for coins, for gems to fight some big ass bird named Wingo to try to do right for everybody in and of itself. It's fun. It's something unique. It's based off the side missions that were in Super Mario. No, it's Super Mario 3D World, right?
Yes.
So Super Mario 3D World and had a little bit of a cameo in Super Mario Odyssey, and Nintendo went and just kind of did its own thing. I got it for like $8 on digital because I free stuff. You can get it on your Switch for like 40 and probably on your Wii U for 60 because prices like that are jacked up. But it's more puzzle oriented. It's about a good 4 or 5 hours of your time going there. I'm not a completionist. I just get what I can in the main run unless there's stuff that really expands on the story lore wise. There's no lore here. You are just trying to get your gold, but you're basically a pirate. It's almost as if it's Nintendo's version of what City Slickers. I would totally. You want to make live action anime movies? Hear me out now, Nintendo. We're going to copy and pan this stuff the same way we did with Aces, which was our TV show on Netflix. But I would pay money for the animated Captain Toad movie that's basically City Slickers with Toad and Toadette, voiced by Billy Crystal. And you know what? Bring in Toadette as Meg Ryan. You can have a When Harry Met Sally kind of reunion. It's obviously, game's not hard, can just be challenging if you don't think to a certain degree. Whole lot of fun, very cute, very adorable, very good to kind of get away from high intensity because I've also been playing Deathloop. You already know my opinion on it, but I don't like to give reviews on the show until I've completed them fully. I think I love it. I burnt myself out of it over the weekend, though. I did because I popped in like 10 hours. I was sick, so I didn't do much this weekend. So, but I'm 32. I can't put in like the 50 hours straight and not, especially since it's a loop game, but I don't want to talk about one game and go from this one. Captain Toad I played like the last 2 weeks when I was waiting, dressed up as Woody from Toy Story at my place to hand out candy. I had the Switch in hand waiting for those kids. It's something that you can take on the go. It's something that you can play on your TV, something that you can play during a podcast and eat up a lot of time. I can't trade it in, of course, because I bought digital, but it's something that even maybe if I need a slow moment as I'm about to turn it off and put it onto a different game because I've hit my max with it now, that I would definitely try to revisit again for its uniqueness, its fun, and its charm. So Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for your Nintendo Switch, probably also get for your Wii U. The Nintendo Switch version has the bonuses from levels that come from Super Mario Odyssey, another fantastic game, which I think I did put as a non-sponsor we talked about in the past, but definitely play that game. A gun to your head, you're only allowed one game to play on your Switch. It's Odyssey, not Breath of the Wild. Why? Because Breath of the Wild isn't everybody's cup of tea, especially if you hate breakable weapons. But any person who hates Odyssey, they're a Parasophilus, and we don't trust them. So that's my non-sponsor week, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for your Nintendo Switch and for your Wii U. Promo code City Slickers. Wouldn't you pay for that? Literally,
I would.
Meg Ryan.
I would. Hell, you could even. I mean, yeah, you can even tie in the Super. Like, it could be like a spin-off of this new Chris Pratt Mario movie or whatever.
Billy Crystal as Toad is something I never thought I needed until I saw it in my head.
I honestly think that would be a great idea. Right? It's voice acting, so you don't have to get him. I'm sure. Of course, you'd have to pay him, but maybe not as much. I'm not sure. I'm sure he'd do it. He hasn't done anything in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't be famous for just watching the Clippers suck.
I'm totally behind this idea. I am totally behind this idea. All right. So my non-sponsor, I'm gonna go with a food-based one. Because, and I just want to make sure I do not do anything that makes my computer crash. So, it might have been the PS2 game running in the background too. That might have actually done it too, because it's been running smoothly since I've not loaded that up. So whatever. Anyways, so Charles, I went out over the weekend. On a Friday night. had a good time, right? So it was getting late, stuff like that, and someone was craving food, some Asian food. I'm like, oh man, I could be open this
If you
late
say
at night.
pay away, I'm throwing my phone at you.
If I say what?
If you say pay away, I'm throwing my phone at you.
Oh hell no, no
Just
man.
saying.
No, dude. I'm not. I'm not gonna do that to myself. I'm not gonna do that with someone I'm going out with, right? I'm trying to be a good person and treat them right. I'm just ugh. I know I put ketchup on my subs, man. I know I haven't watched The Sandlot, but I'm not that trashy.
Ah. Ah.
Anyways, something late at night, it was midnight and stuff, and we just have the hankering, right? Just have the hankering. And I'm like, it's a good place nearby that has some good Asian food, Asian fusion stuff. It's a place called Moshi Moshi down here in Miami. They got a few locations. Moshi Moshi, they got sushi, they got sake, they got tapas, they got all that stuff. They got these donuts, Charles. I got donuts.
Is that those powder donuts?
Yeah, powder
They're,
donuts.
they're like your little. They look like bows, but they're not bows.
A,
They're
l-
so good as
a
hell.
little bit. They're not shaped like traditional donuts. It's just that
Yeah.
it's fried dough. Come on, donuts are fried dough, right? So
It's like you knew I had orange chicken before I jumped on the show. By the way,
um, so yeah, and the person I was going out with is a legitimate Asian person, and she's like, yeah, they did it right. They did the noodles right. I'm like, okay, good, all right. None of this payway stuff, Just saying. All right, they actually, I think they actually have actual Asians working on the food here, not some Cuban guy in the back. So, yeah, Moshi Moshi. I've been to them countless times already. Their food is good. The ramen is good. I like the ramen there. Okay. Some people are a little too picky with their ramen and stuff like that. Those guys, it's pork broth. It's just broth. But actually, I've had some pretty shitty ramen in one restaurant, but I'm not gonna call them out because I don't even remember their name. But it
we're
was
nice people.
yeah, but they're in Miami Lakes. They're in Miami Lakes, and I'm like, I should have known. I'm getting a little too far from the center here of culture. It's a little too close to Hialeah, and I've had Asian food in Hialeah, and most of it's not good. The Chinese place that I get my Chinese food from, the sweet and sour chicken, all that stuff, they do all right. Right? But
You know what? When I lived in Miami, I only had Chinese food like twice
yeah,
because I couldn't find the place.
yeah.
I needed.
But Moshi Moshi, I like them. I vibe with them. They got some good stuff, and they're 24/7. So if you got the hankering for something, anything, check out their menu, man. They got it all. They got it all. Let's see, and just look at their menu here. Gosh, where is Oh, I guess they have it all like this. Never mind. Oh, you have to go on Uber Eats to see their. Oh, there it is. Well, we're gonna look at it anyways. And yeah, Charles, I've had the tempura. I've had the gyoza, of course. I have the harumaki. Plenty of that. I love I love a good ramen. That's for sure. They've got all your traditional rolls that you expect to be there, right? You got your sushi, of course. You got your sashimi, and yeah. And I always go with the pork tonkotsu ramen. Okay, give me all that. Give me all of that, please. Just pork. There's something about pork belly, man. There's some good stuff. There's just something about it's what is it? Umami, right? That's the other sense that our tongues can taste or whatever. Yeah, it's just something about that umami, man. That's the real treat right there. So yeah, promo code Cuban guy working in the back.
Oh, we're getting canceled.
We should have been canceled a long time ago, dude. For real. Yeah, no. We're just working on at this point, this is overtime, man. And we're getting away with it. All right, Charles.
Captain Toad has their DLC is $6, but you get 18 tracks, and I will be eyeing that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday, get one of those Nintendo cards for cheap. Get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean for $6 for 18 more courses, that's about 2 hours. That's one of the few like DLCs I can justify to because you already have a game that's no story, so I just want more puzzles.
Yeah.
Make my brain work.
Yeah, that works out. That definitely works out. And yeah, I kind of wish it was on the Wii. I probably would have bought it on the Wii U if it popped up on there. But regardless, all right, Charles, we're back to Gottlieb's Goons.
All right, we're back.
And
All
this
right,
is
we're
and
done
this
being
is
nice.
this has been
We went from Jigglypuffs to Wigglytuffs. Don't mess with us.
this
Parasophiles.
has been Charles. Yeah, you've had many petty sagas over the course of our 3 years on this show. Right? We know your relationship with Aaron Boone, right? We know your relationship with Vince McMahon. Of course. We know that. We know that.
Especially.
Right? And we know your proficiency for calling out frauds like the 76ers. We know this. But there's one in particular that has crescendoed, has finally ripened. And it's bearing fruit finally, and we are picking the fruit, and it's very low hanging fruit right now, folks, and that's the beauty of it. It is very low hanging fruit, and look, we are not above low hanging fruit on this show. In fact, it's basically a lot of the premise of the show of why we started it. Your relationship with Aaron Rodgers, not the Green Bay Packers, but Aaron Rodgers in specifically, has been one of the more interesting sagas because I know how much you love being right about this man. I know how much every time the Packers make it to the NFC Championship game and they falter, and I know that Ron Burgundy image of you with the heart on is so right, so true. Okay? The Dana White load size, the Guy Fieri load size, all of those gifts are so true. But Charles, over this past week, it has I can't even I don't even there's no load size that can encompass what has happened. Aaron Rodgers we talked about it last week, but it was only the beginning. Last week was only the beginning. Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID. All right, fine. Okay. He even said, hey, man, I don't hate him. I just, hope he's not going to get sick or anything like that. It's just, it was just part of, it was just funny to you, right? It's just funny. But I didn't expect it to kind of roll into what it did. I thought it was going to be more low key than that, right? I wasn't expecting that. It looks like Andrew wants to pop in here. If you can tell him that, Charles, if he wants to pop in.
Yeah, I'll text him back.
So, and I want Andrew to join in to pop in here because this is going to be one of the most epic.
He joined. He's going to hear this.
One of the most epic rants and we've had ever, and this is the most satisfying of your petty sagas because it has come to a head because it's not just you this time. Because look, I was on the Packers bandwagon, right? And I'd be like, Aaron Rodgers not that bad of a guy. He does the State Farm commercials. He looks pretty cool. And I've been like that for the last couple of years. Well, you've had this sort of this solo crusade against the man. And it's like, okay, fine. And we've all seen the relationship with him and his family and how much they all hate each other. And he dated Danica Patrick and stuff like that. And now he's got the whole Californian, I don't even know how to describe it, vibe to him right now. And he goes on the Pat McAfee show and I guess friend of the program. I guess because Andrew met him. So we'll just say that.
We also love Pat McAfee because he commentates on SmackDown.
That's true. He's a big wrestling aficionado. Andrew, are you there? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. It goes on a Pat McAfee show, and it's kind of funny the memes people popped out with essentially if there was a bingo card of anti-vax rhetoric, Aaron Rodgers hit all of the things. You got bingo. You got bingo from it. We heard everything, and the title of this episode is SG 121, sponsored by Ivermectin, because of course it is. This is all funny to me. Now, mind you, me personally, I really don't care. I just find it funny. This is all so funny to me, and the fact that it ties into this our own I call our show our own personal show lore makes it all the more satisfying. And we're gonna get Charles, who's gonna come in here and finally he's vindicated. He's been vindicated. Charles has been vindicated for this 3-year crusade, and it's finally been vindicated. So here we go, Charles. Here we go. Oh man.
I feel this is only appropriate because we started the show with Spider-Man, but I'm going to sing you the most bombastic, fantastic song of 2004 that wasn't Crazy Love with Beyonce and Jay-Z. Actually, I think that was 2003. It's Dashboard's Confessionals Vindicated from Spider-Man 2. Hope dangles on a string like slow spinning redemption, winding in, winding out. And then he goes, vindicated, I am selfish, I'm wrong. He's just putting out there, I'm vindicated. Boys, I am right, I swear I knew it all along, but I am flawed, and I have read it up so well. I am swear to know, swear to so self. There's so much songs. The other song I would use in comparison to this is Johnny Cash's God's Gonna Cut You Down. You know what I say? You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God's gonna cut you down. When sun in the dark comes down the light. To answer your question, this California look that he's looking for right now is being a Big Lebowski on a diet. That's the first thing. He showed up with the Pat McAfee show with the Star Wars Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker shirt. First off, that really should tell you, out of all the Star Wars shirts for the movies to watch, you're going to watch the one that gives you no such context to any of the things that they're collecting to. Because you made no sense, just like Rise of Skywalker. Congratulations, Aaron. What did I say last week on the show, guys? I said he can't handle that criticism. He's soft. He's soft. He's basically the football equivalent of the Parasophilus. Andrew, I need you to Google Parasophilus.
Parasophilus.
I can't say it, man. I can barely say my own name. Come on, give me a break here. Parasophilus, and then look at Expelliarmus, and then look at Nikola Jokic. But he goes around, he tells people, he says in August that he's been immunized. He goes on this whole thing. Then he goes on the Pat McAfee show saying that he's taking a combination of vitamin C, ivermectin, all these other things, and then proceeds to go on and get defensive because he's saying that he didn't lie to the media. He only stated things that are different. And then everybody's just trying to be like, but that's a lie. It's an omission of truth. And it's a mission of truth because you don't want your opinion to literally be influenced and attacked. And you go on this whole soapbox craze of that you believe that cancel culture is going to come at me, that the woke left's not going to like me, or the right's going to be anti-vaxxing. But I don't think either side's going to look at you like that, Aaron. I think they're just going to look at you as a putz. They're going to look at you as for somebody who's 37 years old, 38 years old, as someone who's immature to the fan base and can't take that heat and that criticism because you just didn't want to outright tell people, nah. This has been a very polarizing topic for a lot of people throughout the year of when the vaccine has become made available. And there has been people who are younger than you in less fortunate situations who do not have a platform the way that you do that could have just been like, oh, are you going to get the shot on? Nah, or yeah, and that's it. And we have to deal with the blowback every single day. I get blowback for saying I'm vaccinated from people who think, Ice House beer is the best kind of beer out there. I'm sure there's blowback for people who don't get vaccinated, and they have to deal with other people saying, "Oh, you don't understand, your people are at risk." Everybody is dealing with criticism on a topic that is prevalent through all of not just this country, every country in this world, and you have a platform to be like, "Yeah, I'm immunized," and then because you get this little soapbox with your buddy Pat McAfee and AJ Hawk, who played with you, by the way, and you explain your whole logic, and then you drop face. If you watch that clip, the minute he says ivermectin, you see AJ Hawk going like, cut it. And then you try to get another bite of the apple by going back on the same show, who's always going to take you because no other sports group is going to have access to a megastar, one ring kids, megastar to have on that platform, the Pat McAfee show. He's certainly going on ESPN, NFL Network, and try to once again save face. It is disastrous. Tiger Woods' PR worked better, I think, than Aaron Rodgers going on right now, man. All these disasters, because it's not that you did anything wrong. You just, is this fair to say, you thought that your opinion was more important than really what it was? I kind of think so. And it feels good because my whole predication on him was him as a player, when I was like, I get it, but I don't get it anymore. I know where he was 10 years ago to make everybody lap him up and think he's so fantastic, but that has come and gone. And all people did was pilfer onto the blame onto, or filter the blame onto Mike McCarthy, Dom Capers, all these other guys. But this was a storm of shit. Not a shitstorm, but a storm of shit that had been brewing since last season when we got into the offseason. That Jordan Love had been, he was drafted out, he was drafted in basically. He's feeling like he's getting phased out. Rodgers doesn't know if he want to come back. He played this whole thing. I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna retire. I don't know. So you already brought in unwanted, unnecessary drama, and now you put even further drama because what has happened, guys? You're not vaccinated. You're saying you're immunized, but guess what that doesn't come into? It's basically saying that you're not within the protocols of protection as needs to the NFL. And it so happens that the Green Bay Packers have had a high proliferation of positive COVID testing the last couple of weeks. So you basically maybe put the eyes on your organization for bad protocols because they gave you an exception, because they collared you like the baby that you are. You should literally join up with Nikola Jokic and join the ABC Little Children Daycare, and maybe they can teach you how to win instead of saying me, right? Oh, mic drop.
Oh man.
I kept it brief for y'all because Andrew's in, and I want to hear his voice.
News just came out a few minutes ago.
Okay.
So the Packers have been fined $300,000. Rodgers and wide receiver Alan Lazard were each fined $14,650. The Packers were fined because, let's see, hold on.
Because Aaron Rodgers won't wash his hair.
Well, yeah.
Let me search Packers fine on Twitter while you're looking that up. Let's see. They did indeed, according to Lindsey Jones, the league did indeed fine the Packers $300,000. I'm getting an echo on my end from speaker. And Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard, $14,650 each for COVID protocol violations. Those include some instances of the players not wearing masks in the building, including press conferences and attending the Halloween party. So that's according to the discipline negotiated by the NFL and NFLPA. Okay, so that just popped out. So $300,000 to the team, and
For a team that's publicly owned, that's hard, man.
And $14,650 for Rodgers and Lazard for the Halloween party. So there you go. I wonder what he went as for Halloween.
He was John Wick.
Oh well.
What's he gonna do? Because he's gonna attack the COVID antibody. He's like, all right, you can't get me.
So there you go.
What a wacko.
Oh man. So, Andrew, do you have any opinions about this? Now knowing that the saga across all of this.
I mean, well, first, can we say this is one of the fastest falls from grace that I've ever experienced. The guy went from, I mean, look, just a few weeks ago, he was lauded and, pats on the back for saying, I still own you, Chicago. Everyone thought that was great. Everyone loved his Halloween costume as being John Wick. Discount double check. It's like the guy could do no wrong. He was on Jeopardy. People thought that Jeopardy would be in his future. Hell, I thought, it's perfect. Jeopardy is going to be selecting its hosts. They're shooting shows right now with Mayim Bialik through, I think, February. I mean, the timing is perfect. He retires after this season. And this is my thinking before all this happened. I was thinking he'll retire after the season. He'll slot right in on Jeopardy. It'll be perfect. He's thrown that away for sure. He's an idiot for taking ivermectin and listening to fucking Joe Rogan. Jesus Christ. But more than that, I think all people like that are idiots, but, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, sure, go ahead and be an idiot. But the fact that he says, I may have deceived people. No, you lied. You said I'm immunized. That's like saying,
I mean, I said the equivalent of it's just a razor bump, baby, nothing to worry about. That's what Aaron Rodgers said. But I said that in the chat.
He said that.
I don't know.
I think he said that last episode, actually.
And greatest hits, guys.
Yeah.
Like that, you can't pull the, well, I was immune. No. There are only two ways you can be immunized against something. One is to get the damn thing, and the other is to get a vaccine. Those are the only way you can get immunized.
Technically, third would be dead, and we're not that lucky right now. If you're a Chicago Bears fan, that's what they want.
Right. Death is pretty, kind of prevents you from getting any diseases. But to say that you're immunized when you know full well that you are contravening the NFL's requirements, this is on, I would say this is on level of stupidity with Evander Kane, who gave a fake immunization card even though it wasn't required.
Yeah. And Evander Kane needs the money, by the way. So, yeah.
Right. He's getting fined money he don't have. But like I said, my take is if you're going to be an idiot to yourself and don't harm anyone else. But he not only is he an idiot, there was a on SNL during their opening monologue they referenced this.
That's our title cover for today.
Oh, right. And he said, yeah, I was totally immunized. I told the guys everything is going to be fine while I'm in a huddle breathing in their faces 3 inches away with my wet mouth. Like, you're an NFL roster, if I remember correctly, is 52 people. So you got 52 people, not to mention the, 20-some players on a practice roster. You're putting every single one of them at risk. Even if all of them are vaccinated. And bear in mind, offensive, defensive linemen, they are so at risk for adverse effects of COVID because they're all massively overweight. And that's another discussion for another day. But they've got sleep apnea. They've got a load of health issues. So any one of them was unvaccinated for any reason, he's putting them at serious risk of severe illness or death. And that would be on his hands. Luckily, that doesn't appear to be the case that anyone got severely sick because of Aaron Rodgers. But it's kind of like DUI. Just because you didn't kill anybody doesn't mean that it's okay for you to do it. So
Indeed.
I liked Aaron Rodgers. I thought he would have been a great Jeopardy host. You know, I mean, a little bit weird that he's dating Shailene Woodley, but whatever, or engaged, I forget. It's a little bit of a large age gap, but you do you. It's legal. It's like, good God Almighty.
Yeah.
And my opinion of him did like to call it a 180 is being nice. It's like when a 180 and down 90 degrees. Like there's a roller coaster in Tampa where the rail goes actually beyond 90 degrees going down. That's what happened. It's gone beyond 90 degrees. It's going backward now and down. Like, Jesus. It's I don't have enough words for it.
Yeah, it was, and I already prefaced this where I really, I mean, look, I don't get into the whole political thing anyways. That's a whole other thing for a whole other show and stuff like that. And I'm getting the echo again, by the way. But it's it's just hilarious to me how the bingo card thing, how he hit every single point. It was like he was trying to 100% speed run the anti-vaxxer video game, Anti-Vaxxer 64. and he did it. And he did it. He speed ran it. He set the record. So he 100%ed it. And it was just hilarious. And seeing the reaction on Pat McAfee's show of the two hosts when he just started saying it, it's like, oh my God. They knew they had something there. And look, mind you, of course, Pat McAfee's has a show to promote and a show he wants to continue to grow, right? And it's big enough, right, already, but he wants to be bigger. And he knew. He's like, oh, this is about to get bigger. And it was great. It was great television, or whatever you want to call it, internet television, what have you. This has been great sports theater for us, for guys on the show, and once more, this has been great for our own internal lore. It feels like this has...
Have you guys ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes, of course.
So you know the Vindication gif, right? Or the scene?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Vindication!
And we are finally here after so many years. This is great. This is great. I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I'm very happy with this. Like I'm so at like let's say if the Yankees had fired Aaron Boone, like this would never have reached that level. Because it just two Aaron guys, man. Charles, you have something against guys named Aaron, huh?
Yeah, man. How are you gonna have two A's? How are you gonna have two A's?
Aaron.
Karen doesn't have two A's, but you being a Karen Rodgers as is, bud.
Oh boy. So there you go.
Did you guys see the Karen Rodgers memes though?
Oh yeah. And I have these memes of Aaron Rodgers put in my veins, man. Because I've been living that dream.
Karen Rodgers. Oh man. So, all right. So Andrew, we have had a ton of technical difficulties in this show. So this is probably not going to run as long because I need to figure it out. The show has crashed twice already. And I don't know what's going on. Your mic is incredibly like low right
We
now
got hacked
as
from
well.
Serbia.
I
I'm
can
telling
hear
you,
you,
man.
but it's not as high as Charles's mic, and I don't know why.
Hold
So
on, let me
there's
try
a
something.
there's a few things that have happened this episode, and I kind of get an echo sometimes. So yeah, you figure that out. But a few things have happened in the show that have, and it might be, and you know what, we can put on tinfoil hats. It might be a whole thing. Aaron Rodgers didn't want us to get to this point, right? I'm just saying.
You mean
You know?
Nikola Jokic?
Or yeah, well, he already heard that. Or McDonald's is retaliating for our horrendous plug for the McRib earlier this episode. Um, because yes, we are sponsored by the McRib this episode.
Andrew, I went so far as saying that even I wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I put in my body.
And that
I'm
is-
basically Critter for fast food from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah, exactly. You are
Oh,
you-
Cricket, not Critter.
Yeah,
Or is it
rickety
cricket? It's
cricket.
cricket.
There we go. Yeah,
rickety cricket. There we go.
So, are you there, Andrew? I think he's trying to figure out his own technical difficulties.
The
Well then,
Jokic brothers killed our boy.
okay, now he's popped back in. All right, Andrew.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much
Much
better. There we go. Well, while we have you here, and while the computer hasn't exploded, let's run through the gamut of college football
Okay.
because Manny forever, everybody. Manny forever. Manny forever.
I think Manny Diaz has saved his job. I hate to say it, but I mean the Huskers are keeping Frost for another year. And honestly, I think this is going to sound weird and counterproductive, but I think it's actually for the best if if they keep Diaz, and let me explain why. Right now, the coaching market is very volatile. I mean, Diaz sucks, but he's at least keeping the team more or less bowl eligible every year. He's not Willie Taggart, where they lost 2 straight seasons at FSU. The problem is if you keep switching coaches so much, eventually you basically break down your system. Quarterbacks particularly, they don't respond well to change. They prefer routine. They prefer to have the same offensive coordinator, the same scheme, same recruiting pipelines. Like I said, Diaz isn't horrible. He's just average. There's a lot changing. Like UCF is now a Power 5 job. That was a big problem. Was that Scott Frost left for Nebraska, which admittedly that one's a little bit different because that was his alma mater. But you see Justin Fuente, Matt Rule at one point before he went to the Carolina Panthers, Tom Herman, Willie Taggart, Charlie Strong. I could go on and on and on. These coaches would jump because they were going from a G5 school with basically they're at the ceiling to a Power 5 job with infinitely more money, infinitely more resources. So you've got UCF, Houston, BYU, and Cincinnati all making that jump. So instantly those are jobs that normally Luke Fickell, I mean, admittedly, he is under consideration for the USC job, But Cincy being in a Power 5, I know they're not there yet, but they're going to be there in 2 seasons. So there's actually light at the end of the tunnel for the Luke Fickles of the world to say, just stay a little bit, my money's going to increase. But then you've got LSU has Orgeron leaving at the end of the year. You've got USC who's on an interim coach. UMass, well, UMass is UMass, but Miami is not the top job right now. Let's be brutally honest. This isn't the U of the 1980s and the 2000s. They are the either third or fourth best team in the state right now, despite their ranking.
Comments are made on that, but go ahead.
I mean, maybe not this season, but generally speaking, FSU sucks. They're fourth right now.
UF sucks.
UF sucks. FSU sucks. UM is the best football team in Florida. Don't give me the UCF crap.
Right, the Owls are good, right?
Acknowledge me, Andrew.
The Owls are good, right?
They are.
I acknowledge that Miami is okay.
We can finish 8-4 this season. We beat 2 ranked teams. How many teams have you beat that are ranked?
Well,
that's an ACC.
Boise was ranked at one point.
There you go.
But anyway, but generally speaking, any 1 year can be an anomaly. Let's look at trends here. Miami has sucked over the last few years. They got the shit kicked out of them in the Pinstripe Bowl by Wisconsin. They got the shit kicked out of them by Louisiana Tech. They didn't score a damn point against Louisiana Tech. Miami is woefully overrated right now. Woefully overrated.
This heat? Is this because I said Mackenzie Milton is trash?
That's the problem with Mike Norvell, let's be honest. Norvell sucks. He should not have left Memphis. Again, there's the problem. Well, Memphis is inevitably going to be joining the Big 12 when the Big 12 expands again in a couple of seasons. It's looking like Memphis, Boise State, at least those two. There's rumors about San Diego State and South Florida. But yeah, Miami is not the job it once was until you get another Butch Davis in there. Not current Butch Davis, but old Butch Davis.
I mean, to be fair,
Schnellenberger.
It has not been a job for 15 years by who we've hired in the last 15 years. So,
who have your coaches been recently? Al Golden.
Randy Shannon, Al Golden, I think Mark Rick, who was on San Francisco, and then we got Manny at the Rick was like, I'm out. So like those names I gave you, if you want to say Rick is good or was a big name, I would say that's suspect. It's just he was in Georgia for so long, and the fact that he was semi-competitive in the SEC worked transition well to the ACC. But I would say like that your logic is more equivalent to like UF, if anything.
And that's another thing. A lot of people are saying Mike Norvell should have been left on the tarmac in Columbia because he lost 40-17 to South Carolina.
You mean Mullins?
Sorry, Mullins.
Yeah.
40-17 to South Carolina. There was a play where probably the closest guy to the wide receiver who was completely open in the end zone, probably members of the International Space Station were closer to him than members of the Florida secondary. The guy was, it was unbelievably wide open. I don't think there was anyone in the end zone where this guy was. It was insane. That was not a good play. Their one good showing was almost beating Alabama. And that's about it.
So, all right. So, Andrew, uh, you went to the you say you teleconference, right?
It normally stupid ESPN.
Oh God.
They said I was expecting it to start at 7, like they normally do, but instead they just said that it was going to start at 9:45.
Okay, that's a long time to wait for that. Well, oh,
I'll explain later.
so last week I briefly mentioned that one of our Gottlieb's goons was the college football playoff committee, but we didn't really get into it because you weren't here.
Correct.
So college football playoff committee is a goon, and you know what? They're pretty much an eternal goon at this point, right? I would assume so.
More or less.
So
That's a fair assessment.
yeah. So my beloved Cincinnati Bearcats, left out.
And I'm going to be honest, Francisco. The reveal show is starting in 3 minutes. I'm actually pulling that up to watch it.
Okay.
But I would be surprised if they were in the top 6 again.
Yeah.
And let me explain why.
So I'm gonna have to jump to another bandwagon.
Let me explain why, because it seems unfair. I'm a part of the RCFB poll that's published every week. I had Cincinnati at 2. I kept them in place. The problem is Michigan State lost. Alabama eked out a win against LSU. Teams all around Cincinnati, Ohio State lost by less than 10 points. I think they lost by 9 points to Nebraska. But ultimately, the buzzwordy thing is, good teams grind it out against teams they shouldn't lose to. But then when that same logic is used against G5 schools, it's, they must suck because they weren't able to put away inferior competition. In this case, inferior competition is Tulsa. But Tulsa is really, really, I don't know what it is with Tulsa, but have you guys ever, there was a book I read a long time ago. It was talking about how one of the characters knew how to match a person's handshake pressure perfectly. So they were like the best handshaker in the world. They never squeezed too hard. They they weren't a limp fish. They matched the handshake perfectly in terms of grip and pressure. That is what Tulsa is. They played Cincinnati. The only reason Cincinnati won, or at least it didn't go into overtime, was because Tulsa fumbled the ball at the goal line. Otherwise, we'd probably be looking at an OT game. And if you look at last year, when Cincinnati was the top team and almost went undefeated, they just lost in... Luke Fickell made a terrible decision coaching last year in the Peach Bowl against Georgia. But Cincinnati had to kick a walk-off field goal to beat Tulsa. Meanwhile, Tulsa almost beat Oklahoma State, but then they play it close with fucking UC Davis. Which, nothing against UC Davis.
They get up for they get up for the big games,
Like, Urinating Tree talks.
They play to their competition. They play down
exactly,
and then they play
Tree
up.
Would talk about that a lot with Pittsburgh. He would say they play up and they play down to their competition. Tulsa is the epitome of that. Is the epitome of that. If they play, theoretically speaking, if they played like they played against Cincinnati and Oklahoma State, they would have beaten the living daylights out of UC Davis. But instead, UC Davis is like right there with them. It makes zero sense. But I don't know. But Cincinnati is going to drop. They're going to drop from probably going to drop to 7. Probably Michigan State, which was 3, it was going to drop into Cincinnati's place at 6. They're going to say, oh, well, Purdue beat Iowa, which is another ranked team. So obviously Purdue is a good school right now. So, obviously Purdue's got some voodoo going on in West Lafayette. I don't know what it is, but they are the giant killer. They beat Ohio State, which was ranked number 2 a few years ago. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they get kicked out of the Big Ten just because they keep beating their top teams. But in any case, Cincinnati is probably going to go to 7. Michigan State's, like I said, probably going to go to 6. Everything else is going to stay the same. Georgia, obviously, it's Georgia and everybody else right now because Georgia they're just the most complete team right now. I'm getting on a bit of a tangent. I apologize. UTSA, or should I say USTA, according to Gary Barta, they're probably going to still be unranked, which I would honestly be amazed if they were unranked, but I wouldn't put it past this committee. And let me explain why. Their biggest gripe against UTSA last week was that they hadn't beaten anybody other than who was they? Then I think it was Illinois. Like Jay Bielis, he says that his top 4 is Georgia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, and Oregon. That seems, maybe I drop Oregon a bit because I don't know. But
I did say you could jump on that bandwagon, Francisco.
Well, but, I'm a hold on right now to Cincinnati because maybe, just maybe we'll get a Christmas miracle.
Let me say this, Francisco. Cincinnati is very much in UCF 2017 UCF shoes right now. If Cincinnati is able to run the table, go 14-0, and this has been a particularly chaotic season. I read somewhere that every single AP top 25 rank has lost at least once this season, which is insanity. A lot of people are starting to compare this to 2007, which was a year so chaotic that Kansas and Missouri were considered national champion contenders. And they were up until the conference championship week. 2007 is the king of chaotic seasons, but we're getting there this season. If Cincinnati stands alone as the only undefeated team, or if UTSA is the only other undefeated team. So if Georgia goes down and Oklahoma go down, Georgia goes down and Oklahoma goes down, Cincinnati has a good shot of pulling a number 1 ranking from one of the other lesser known but still major selectors like the Colley Matrix. If they pull that, they are national champions and they can claim that. And I hope they do. I really hope that they do claim it because that is the closest they're going to get to a national championship until they get to the Power 5, and it's through no fault of their own. So if you want a successful bandwagon team, stick with Cincinnati.
Okay. I mean, I've always been a Bearcats fan, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That's true. So we'll see. I mean, the reveal show is running a little bit late because they're waiting for the halftime of the Kansas-Michigan State basketball game. A game where Kansas is actually a good team. Wow. But
Wait, they're a basketball school though.
oh yeah.
I mean, that's their bread and butter, baby.
Yeah. Mario Chalmers, baby.
I mean, but even Kentucky is good at football now. I mean, Kansas football belongs in FCS. They're that bad. Although, strangely enough, they almost beat Oklahoma. That's what I mean. This season is so crazy. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, the good news is the tendency for the regular polls, so the regular human polls, so the coaches and the AP, to kind of bring themselves in line with the college football playoff ranking doesn't appear to be happening, because the AP still has Cincinnati at 2 in the poll. The coaches have them at 3, a drop of 1 spot, which I don't agree with, but at least they're not putting them into 6th. A drop of 1 spot, almost losing to Tulsa, that's a fair argument. Sorry, I one more train of thought that I briefly jumped off of, but I'll get back on. UTSA. They beat UTEP this past week. 6-2 UTEP team. At the Sun Bowl, and they had, I think, like 30,000+ people in the Sun Bowl.
Yeah, baby. El Paso.
And it wasn't just a close win. They blew the doors off. They dismantled the picks of the UTEP Miners. They just beat the crap out of them. So, according to Gary Barta last week, who else has UTSA beaten? Well, there you go. You've got UTEP, 6-2. That's another team they've beaten. They said, who else over 500 have they beaten? Now they've got UTEP on the record. Some other teams they've beaten are now above 500. Memphis was one. I think SMU, or a couple of other schools that they've beaten that are above 500. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of mental gymnastics Barta and the committee will do to find a way to keep UTSA out of the discussion again. So, look for that. Look for that to see. We'll find out shortly how bad UTSA gets screwed.
Oh boy, so that's about to go down. I guess we'll have them as a goon most likely next week when we get to talk about that. All right, Andrew. Yeah.
And I guess I guess I'll do a quick rundown of the other Florida schools, because that's what I do. UCF eked out a win against Tulane last week, 14-10. I don't have their schedule in front of me, which is very lazy of me and unprepared. Hold on. Yeah, so UCF beat Tulane last week, 14-10. They are the first bowl eligible team in the state of Florida.
Frauds.
They play at SMU this coming Saturday at noon, which that'll be a huge resume booster. Well, not that it matters to UCF, because there's no way they're getting into a major bowl this season, but for possibly getting back into the top 25, SMU is a team that's ranked right now, or has been ranked recently. Going to the ACC now. Let's go with Florida State. They are 3-6.
Trash.
You're still possibly bowl eligible. You are still possibly bowl eligible.
All right. The Carmilla Bowl or whatever.
Camellia Bowl.
Yeah, there we go.
The McRib Bowl.
Your opponent this week is Miami.
You know what it is, baby. I'm going to own both of you next
the
week.
day
'cause
that
not
happens,
only-
we're going to be the ones
no-
calling the game.
Not only will, we decide for FSU with our quality starting team, but then we're also going to break Mackenzie Milton's leg. I love it.
Oh, fuck you.
He's evil.
I love it.
He is evil.
You guys both know.
He is
you
evil.
both know.
He is the
Andrew.
Listen,
Charles has not broken kayfabe at all with regards to this.
Listen, man. Say what you will about Mackenzie Milton's skills and whatnot, but don't go for the leg.
You obviously never been in a fight. The only person who tries to the people who fight fair lose a fight.
This is Cobra Kai.
This is Cobra Kai.
Oh,
understand this. The petty trade, the pettiness, the petty god, the spiritual ancestors of petty, whatever you want to call it, shaman rituals, has been the wind to my back for the last 3 weeks. And how great has it been? I get this. I get Milton starting and I get FSU and I beat y'all. It's great. I love it. We're probably gonna lose. We're just calling that right now, right? We all realistically know we're
it would be great for Manny Diaz because
we know it's gonna
local Miami radio has been a little too happy with the Canes lately, and I need that to go down.
We are all students of history, and we know what happens every time we get too hyped up. Get a little bit of that blood flowing, that adrenaline popping. We get a little Jimmy Butler in our Miami Hurricanes. It doesn't work out. So, Andrew, I'm telling you right now, objectively speaking, watch us lose. Watch it happen. But you don't come to the show Tuesday. Don't come to the show Tuesday.
Miami lost to Florida. That would be fantastic.
Don't come to the show Tuesday. Meet me in the back.
Anyway, Miami beat Georgia Tech 33-30 last week. Like mentioned before, they're playing Florida State on Saturday up in Tallahassee. Last but not least, Florida, they suck.
Yay!
Yay!
They, like I said, they lost 40-17 last week to the incredible South Carolina Gamecocks. They are 4-5. They are trash. They are on a 3-game losing streak. They lost LSU. Georgia was to be expected, and then South Carolina. Good news is they're playing their cupcake Samford, not Stanford, Samford, on I'm assuming their homecoming game this Saturday, starting at 12. If they somehow lose that, they will be the laughing stock of the entire state.
To be fair, they're always laughing stock, so it's okay.
But yeah, that wraps it up for Florida. Yeah.
Okay. All
There's
right.
not much more to add aside from the inevitable
disappointment of the college football playoff.
The inevitable uproar that's going to be unleashed in the next couple of minutes, thanks to the CFP selection committee.
All right then. So the show's been going good so far, but I think we're 2 hours now with all the technical difficulties. So let's head on over to the cage, and we'll close out the show after that. So here we go.
All right, so welcome everybody to your weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles. Full reminder, disclaimer, wrestling is not fake, boys. It is scripted. It is a staged fight. It's a story about men and women chasing championships, trying to establish that legacy beyond the Mount Rushmore. Wink, wink, hint, hint for people who actually watch wrestling, know where I'm coming from with that one, because that might be a topic coming up soon. Or just beating the holy hell out of each other.
It's Chris Jericho's birthday. We'll look at that.
Yeah, it was also Jericho's birthday too a couple days ago. So
from Winnipeg,
from Winnipeg, one of the GOATSs, coming into it.
They don't have any parks. Okay.
But his real last name's not Jericho; it's Irvine. So go figure, kids. So we talked about last week that this is going to be mostly AEW centric. This is true. I have not backed out of that statement whatsoever. But I feel like it's important to kind of touch and harp on a few things and go from there. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Things happened Shingo Takagi went against Zack Sabre Jr. in the Power Struggle main event. Shingo won. They have now confirmed that it's going to be Shingo Takagi versus um, Kazuchika Okada at, I'm just bad with names today, at Wrestle Kingdom in January. A little thing to kind of hint out, so I want to put it out there as a prediction now to say I was right 2 months later, is that Wrestle Kingdom is 3 nights. I believe it's going to be the 4th and the 5th of January. And then they have it like January 8th or something weird like that coming into it. But Kazuchika Okada and Shingo Takagi, you don't know which day it's going to be. Charles's prediction: Shingo's defend against Kazuka. He's going to beat Okada, and then Will Ospreay will make his full return back for the 3rd night that is set for Wrestle Kingdom and take the title off of Shingo, the title he never lost. They had to abdicate or vacate because he injured his neck. Just putting that prediction out there, because the thing that Okada, Takagi, and Ospreay have been doing is saying, who's the real champ? Let's follow the timeline. You have Takagi, who was now the new champion after Ospreay had to vacate the title from injury. Ospreay has been coming around with another title, saying he's the real champion. He never lost. No one ever beat him. He was only out for like 2 months. He's still the current champion. And you have Okada, who for some reason, in this whole G1 Climax thing, remember, doesn't beat Ibushi clean. And that's Francisco's new favorite wrestler. Doesn't beat Ibushi clean because Kota hurt his shoulder in the match, and it was referee stoppage. And he brings back the old IWGP Heavyweight Championship that he's been parading around. So either 2 things are happening here, fellas. We're either getting what I said, where Shingo and Okada go, Shingo wins, and then he loses to Ospreay, and Ospreay comes back as the king of New Japan for a bit. Or, you don't get this often in New Japan. Or, what are you doing, Charles? Or multi-man match.
Oh.
Multi-man match. We're going to get a triple threat. Straight up. The current champ, the one who says he's a pretender champ, and the one who says, I don't even like that title. It looks like a Decepticon, and bring back the old title because it's so prestigious and I made it prestigious. I'm kind of for it. I can't say the last time I've seen a triple threat go down, man. I think they did it with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, but that wasn't really of interest to me in comparison to what they could do here. Or the other bait and switch, Kota Ibushi comes back, tells Okada, hey, yo, bro, you didn't really beat me. I had a ripped shoulder. I want my title shot opportunity in that contract you have. And then, there's the bait and switch there. That's a possibility too, but I feel like that's a little, too on the nose. But yet, if this could lead to, a triple threat match, by all means, put that in my blood, in my veins. Give it to me. Give me what I want. New Japan World Tag League is going on, very similar to like the G1 Climax and the Super Junior Heavyweights, where it's round robin tournaments. Winner gets to go against whoever the current champion is at the present pay-per-view. Wrestle Kingdom's 2 months away, basically. So it's all going to be sent there. We don't have predictions. I don't do predictions like that. Not for the junior heavyweights or this. Do they go super junior heavyweights? What do they call it? Junior heavyweight super tournament. There's too much, man. There's too much to go on. And I don't do predictions on the tag team league. Naito's back. This is good. We love Tetsuya Naito. Los Ingobernables de Japón. The only time I can say my Spanish correctly is with that affiliation. Tranquilo, man. It's all fine. He has to go his destino, but he's going to be grouping up with Sonata again in this tag team league. I'm not feeling it. I'm ready for Shingo and Naito to just go against each other. Give me what I want, man. You have to have like friction within a stable, because if one guy is holding the main title, but a guy used to hold that main title, I think that story plays itself. And mind you, what is New Japan? More wrestling. What is New Japan? Not as much the entertainment storyline value. What do we know about wrestling is also a soap opera. But every now and then, you gotta go different a little bit. You gotta go outside the comfort zone. You can't be Charles just eating all this healthy food. You gotta get a McRib every now and then, right? Clog your arteries. See, I brought it together. You gotta go outside of your comfort
I don't think
level.
McDonald's is coming back.
Well, damn, man. Your breakfast burritos are still good. I'm sorry. Damn. But we trying. But New Japan, it's going to get interesting. And what I have to do as my homework, fellows, is because it is November 9th today. I give you my matches of the year, don't I? But remember how I split them up, because I was trying to do this last year and then we got caught up and everything. I try to do a separate matches of the year for WWE, AEW, and New Japan. I don't think you do like top matches of the year with all these brands coming in. You know what your best matches, no matter what the promotion is, but it's just too exhaustive. Like, these are the 10 best matches around. These are the 10 best matches from this promotion, that promotion. But I will find what I like. I'll tell you guys where to go. I do it to you guys all the time, like, watch this match. I'll send you snippets of it. But the problem is the YouTube stuff, because marketing and trade rights is always this bad, like, cliche death metal band that doesn't work. I'm just like, I just want to watch Kota versus Naito, man. Can I get that? But I get people singing and dancing in the background, and it's some nonsense. So that's on New Japan for the moment. Impact Wrestling, nothing big right now. I know I focus on them actually a lot more than usual last week, but for Andrew's updates, they stopped doing the open working contracts with AEW. So Impact's doing its own thing now and doing some stuff in New Japan. I think that's actually more beneficial. We did see on the Twitter scroll that we're going to have,
right? That was
that was Ring of Honor.
Oh, that was Ring of Honor.
That was Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So
lower
that
on the rung.
That can be interesting when we bring it to WWE purposes for a second. But,
stuff happened.
Stuff happened. So for Impact, they're working more with New Japan. So mention New Japan real quick. New Japan Strong Battle of the Valley is going to be Kazuga Okada versus Buddy Matthews, who used to be the Buddy Murphy in WWE. That match is going to be a banger. I really hope Buddy can just kind of kill it out there in the independents and just bring it around and do something with his name. I think he should change the name from Buddy because, I think sometimes we are stuck with the old shtick of certain names and mindsets of tough guys. For the guys ripped, he can go. I've seen him live back in the NXT days, and I'm very happy that he has a chance to kind of do his own thing. He's finally free in that sense. So Impact, that's that. Ring of Honor, mass closeout. Andrew, last week, I announced it. Basically, they're releasing all the contracts of the people whose contracts expire at the end of the year anyway, and they're shutting down until April for their Super G Climax tournament, whatever they call it now. Super Tournament, Super of Honor, whatever it is. There's too many pay-per-views going on. They steal each other's names, but until they come back in April, so there's people out of jobs. And speaking of which, there's more releases. The WWE, we already know it was coming. More wrestlers were released. At this point, I don't even care. And it was some big names too. But I'll do a pros and cons argument. I'll do it as this is terrible, how can it happen? Vince, why do you keep releasing people? And then I'll give you like the whole what does it matter kind of argument. So the names of the people released: Keith Lee, Mia Yim, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux, Nia Jax, which is super surprising. Not only is she like The Rock's like distant cousin, but she was actually still quality. Ember Moon, I felt that was going to happen a couple times ago. Frankie Monet, who is John Morrison's wife, she was just signed like a couple months ago. Oni Lorcan, which kind of sucks because I like Orny. B-Fab, who just got called up to SmackDown, part of Hit Row, and it got released. A lot of the other people are NXT people that I'm not too overly familiar with, but I know Jessica Mayo was Frankie Monet's partner, I believe, tag team partner. And then Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado were Lucha House Party. Harry Smith was signed. He's the son of Davey Boy Smith. He didn't even show up main purpose-wise. And then Eva Marie was just there to kind of put Dewdrop over, a.k.a. Piper Nevin. So, thoughts on this?
Scary Man is gone.
Scary Man is gone. Scary Man is gone, but Scary Man couldn't get over on the main roster. And when Vince has to retool you so many times and he doesn't know how to propel you, and how do you propel people on the main roster when they're not chasing championships? It's the thing I've been putting in your brain for a while. How do you write stories? How do you get people to like people, right? When they kind of look like generic, because the look, the authenticity, the cool genuineness that came from Scarlett and Cross died on arrival when you had him come up. He loses to Jeff Hardy in match one, doesn't have at all Scarlett with him whatsoever. And basically what happens is you're not even taking the venom from the cobra. You're basically just skinning the cobra and just leaving the skeleton. That's dead. You know what I mean? There's nothing about it. Really, just skinning it, and that's it. There's nothing ideally dangerous about it anymore because it's dead, and that's what you did. You murdered it. And Karrion Kross, I liked it. I like Scary Man. We don't go on the same street as him. But if that's how it be, that's how it be. And with Keith Lee, I felt that was coming too. Keith had been called up, pushed to the moon initially when he beat Randy Orton, I think Payback, but nothing came out of it. He had to repackage a couple times as Bearcat Lee, and it just didn't work out. He had his birthday the other day, so getting fired before your birthday kind of sucks, right? And then he kind of put out a statement that he had to pay for all his medical conditions that he had combating COVID. Mia Yim, who is his fiance, we like Mia Yim. She's talented. I've seen her in person. I've seen Lee in person. she wasn't even used. She was called up on from Retribution to debut on Raw, and she was going to be there back to Mia Yim instead of being whatever her, original name was when she was in that faction. I think it was Reckoning, and just never utilized. Nia Jax was a big surprise because I thought, Vince loved his Samoans. Nia had some great success, but there's many reasons why, as you can say, and then they're going to give the perfunctory statement. It's, budget cuts or it's whatever. There's some rumors saying that it's because some people are not vaccinated or not. I don't give much weight into the dirt sheets. Some people do. I don't. But it kind of sucks. Ember Moon I've seen too in person, and I felt like it was like about time. You hate to say that when it comes to certain people who are employed and are going to be released from employment, but she was on NXT, won the NXT Women's Championship, got called up to the main roster, did some stuff, got hurt, came back, didn't do anything, went back to NXT, won the women's tag team titles, and then just kind of stalled for a bit. So the idea is maybe Vince is not going for opportunities. And I feel bad about BFAB because she was very green in the ring, but she was part of a stable. So imagine that stable gets called up immediately and then she's gone like the next week. That's how quick it was. Like, maybe she comes back, maybe not. I don't know. Vince has brought people back before. It happens to Mojo. It was fired and was brought back. That was the whole like, oh, this is sorry. These are great talents, stuff like that. Here's the objective lawyer side of me arguing. Were any of these people on the pay-per-view last month, Francisco? Were they on Crown Jewel? No. Were they, and that was a good pay-per-view. Were they on Extreme Rules? No. Were they on SummerSlam? No. Yeah, I can understand the argument that, maybe if Vince and the writers put them in there, they could have been there, but were they moving merch? No. Were they getting support? No. Who were the people that liked them? The people that saw them? Why we have them? Why we pay for them?
Yeah.
Why don't we build something new? If we tried for them and they failed, if we tried and they failed and they couldn't get over and the crowd comes into it, and you can shift all you want on the blame on.
So from this list, I'm just going to ask you, who do you think got done dirty from this list out of all of them?
Man,
the most.
It's a lot. It's not fair to say one. I mean, the worst one has to be BFAB because you literally got caught up from NXT in a stable. And you didn't even wrestle your first match you were released. For some reason, you were released, but not your crew. Anybody else in there. So you saw NXT. Cross, I think they knew there was going to be a hard transition, so they gave him the weird helmet. Keith Lee probably got it dirty because it's one of those things where you getting COVID and you being sidelined for so many months was it a byproduct and they changed your character really soon. But honestly, if you had said, Charles, who really got dirty? Personally, I would say Mia Yim. Imagine you're called from NXT to the main roster. You put into a booking with a stable that's supposed to be this erratic Bane-like characters from The Dark Knight Rises. You're given a completely new name. Your name's Reckoning. There's a point in a match that you had a couple weeks. I think you were going against Nikki Cross where the mask comes off and it's obviously you. You are Mia Yim. You're identifiable. They don't change your name. They don't reveal it. They don't do anything to the storyline. They don't say Mustafa Ali went around and converted Dominic Dijakovic, Dio Madden, or Dijakovic, but it's Christopher Dijak from back in the day. Dio Madden, Mia Yim, or anything like that to go and follow him. No. They break up that band. They put you on the shelf. You're not around. You're never used. You're at home collecting paychecks. You're waiting for your time. You're probably told you're going to be doing stuff. You're brought over to Raw when you're straight from SmackDown. You never make an appearance as Mia Yim. There is no touch point of Mia Yim on the main roster. That to me is doing dirty. You know what I mean? That hits a little bit. Because why? Because now you have to go try to find employment elsewhere. And we all say, oh, AEW is doing good, but AEW can't find everybody, right?
And times are tough with the other leagues.
And times are tough. So if you can't have a body of work to provide because the last year of your body of work is not doing anything, it's looking at a resume. It's like, it says there's a time gap in your resume. Can you explain that? That's how it feels to me. And I'm looking at it as a professional standpoint. Everybody else, Frankie Monet probably go to Impact. Ember Moon, I could definitely see her in AEW. They need Scarlett, Impact, Karen Cross go back to Impact. Oni will be doing the circulations, maybe New Japan, BFAB. I don't know that stuff. Some of these NXT people, I don't know stuff. Keith Lee, it depends. So some people would be like AEW, and I'm like, but is he? You have to kind of figure out what head of creative for each organization or each promotion likes in their wrestlers. Vince McMahon does like his big, beefy, sweaty men, but he also likes comedy and he likes character, I would say. I don't think Vince cares much about wrestling. He cares about moving merchandise and profits and people who can work well on television. That's why certain people who probably should have been fired are still there. You know what I mean? he acknowledges talent, because for anybody who says he doesn't acknowledge talent, he would have fired Cesaro a long time ago. Cesaro's like a top 10 guy on that roster, hands down, complete. Cesaro's in my top 5 matches of this year that's going on between him and Roman. Like, that lets you know the product that's in there. Vince is not stupid when it comes to talent, but he's like, can I do something with this? And there's some people who let go, even though they might be the most talented. But is Tony Khan the guy who would look at Keith Lee, who's like 6'3", 285, 300 something, and go, you? When a lot of the guys on his roster are more smaller, athletic men, 170 pounds, 180 pounds, maybe 200, maybe breaking 6 foot. And how do you book? Because I can understand wrestling should suspend the belief of competitive fighting if you have a fighter in you as the 2 wrestlers that you're portraying, if they're 5'7", 5'8", like a Daniel Bryan. But if Keith Lee is 37, 320 pounds, can do moonsaults and all this athletic stuff, you should beat every small guy there. Correct? Correct, right? And that's the problem a little bit. I don't know what that direction is that Tony Khan likes. I know he likes his athletics. I know he likes making honest storylines. I know he doesn't like cheap humor. I know he has Arn Anderson cut a great promo about having the Glock. I sent you guys that, and I love it. But he also does give guys certain tries that maybe wouldn't get a try in the WWE, such as Eddie Kingston, which is that article that I sent you, because we love Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston follows on Twitter, Charles the True, Dan Frijoles, FJOJR,
Players Tribune,
Sports Goofs,
our Lord and Savior Derek Jeter's, paper.
It was a very good article. I always like Eddie on the mic and stuff like that, because he did stuff in Zendies and he did some stuff with Impact, but I knew about him a little bit, and then he popped onto AEW, and then I've sent you guys stuff. I sent you the promo between him and Punk, and it's gonna be glorious if they continue that. But with WWE, there was releases, but is the needle moving? What WWE needs to be concerned about is the dropping numbers that's happening in Raw. And I won't waste too much breath on WWE because it's more AEW and I don't want to be a long cage, but Raw is now like the 3rd hour they had a Raw yesterday dropped down to like 1.3 billion. That's a very low average, man. That's almost like the peak of what AEW has done. But in the last year since the pandemic started, they were going from close to 2.5 million, close to 3 million, going down. Now what happens if you just hit that million? That's it. Because you're going against the beast that is Monday Night Football. Sure, you don't have the strongest roster, but now you're trying to create new stories. They are trying to create new stories for both Raw and SmackDown. NXT is a different story. I gave up on it. I'll watch the pay-per-views and I'll just get the highlights, but it's no longer the show I used to love. And that happens. That happens sometimes. It's Michael Scott leaving the office kind of feeling. You know what I mean? Season 9 was good, but season 8 was trash. That's the way it goes. But what are you going to do to combat that? Because people, the marks or the people who hate WWE, when they look at the ratings, they're like, now they're falling on Raw. Keep in mind, yesterday, Monday Night Football, Steelers, Bears, that's a big fan base. Everybody's going to watch it. Can you go in competition? How is Vince going to do and clear out? But keep it consistent, Vince. Try to do what you can, push the right people, and, good luck trying to find new stars, though, because, man, you can't just make them into great immediately. And what happens if someone gets injured? That's the question you guys have to ask yourself. You already released so many people. What are you going to do when someone gets hurt and a couple of people get hurt? It happens. You're back to live touring. You're not just doing once or twice a week wrestling. You're doing several times a week wrestling, and you're prepping and you're weightlifting. Can you survive that? Food for thought. But to bring back what I talked about, to bring it together and we'll leave it WWE and go to AEW, there's a mass exodus of Ring of Honor. People that came into it. They don't have contracts. They're independent contractors. Yes, Vince and them just released all these people, but who is to say that creative in WWE and then talent, scouting for talent, wouldn't sign any of those people, right? Either former WWE wrestlers or just guys they want to kind of pack in to make NXT more diverse, or Raw and SmackDown. Just boom and go. And what are these wrestlers who just got released from contracts and say no? They might literally hate the fact that they got to go into WWE, which has had a very anti, wrestler mentality from people who are in the wrestling world, that you don't like the wrestlers, you just want the money, you don't care about us, you don't do this. But when you just came from an organization that just literally fired you, and are we still in a safe condition where you can go state to state to state, out of country to wrestle? It might not be feasible. Getting that sweet contract is called what, guys? Job security. The same reason why, and we're just going to say it now because to make it to Lawyer Association, why some people go for a state job when you're an attorney. Why? Because you get you don't get benefits WWE, but you get benefits, and then you get a consistent salary paycheck, as opposed to going on a feast or famine kind of firm, or keep what you kill kind of mentality, or going on your own. Job security matters. AEW time, because I felt like I made it depressive of wrestling. Wrestling is supposed to be depressive sometimes, but wrestling is also be good. It's supposed to make you feel good. All those kind of things. Almost supposed to make you feel the equivalent of finding out that Aaron Rodgers is just a lying, and smelling man. I bet he does smell. Oh no, Finn Balor got injured. This is literally like what we just talked about of what's going to happen if people get injured, guys. I have to read those dirt sheets. But AEW Full Gear is this weekend on Saturday. And I got to tell you, I don't want to pay $50 for a pay-per-view. I don't want to pay $50 for a pay-per-view. But if there was a pay-per-view card that makes me want to pay $50 for AEW, it's this pay-per-view. I think they have built it extremely well. I think the storylines come in there have been excellent, considering the fact that it is Tuesday. I can do something I haven't been able to do in a while. I'll just give some predictions to go from there. But the card, except for like 2 matches, have been something that I have great interest in. Why does this card matter, this pay-per-view matter? Because it's coming to fruition of culmination of some storylines that have been a long time in the making. And then it's just going to be some damn good wrestling. So from the top, you have the Super Click consisting of Adam Cole, baby, and the Young Bucks going against Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. Falls count anywhere. People are going to beat the hell out of each other. That's going to be fun. Everybody's been feuding with each other there. They've had a couple of matches. Last week, Adam Cole got like concerto from Christian. It's just good stuff that comes into it because you have to get heat on there. Darby Allin versus MJF. MJF is that Buzz Lightyear meme that you sent me that I love personally. MJF is a skilled guy on the mic. Darby Allin has grown on me through the years where I just thought, oh, he's just a glorified stunt guy. I'm like, no, homeboy could wrestle. He was a former TNT champion. They're basically just fighting on the idea of, who's really one of the pillars of AEW. Also, it's because MJF runs his mouth a lot and Darby's going to, pop him out. I forgot about the prediction for Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. I actually think Super Click wins it, and I'll tell you why I think Super Click wins it is because you still are going off of the heat of Adam Cole, baby, coming to AEW after he bailed from WWE. So if you want to keep his star, and of course the dog's here because they love Adam Cole too, but if you want to keep his kind of like importance going, you don't have him lose on his first pay-per-view, no matter what. Rule number 1, right? If this guy's supposed to bet, and I think there's a storyline down the ways, but like 7 months down the ways that lead to it, you don't have him lose that pay-per-view. AEW World Tag Team Championship, Lucha Brothers versus FTR, formerly known as the Revival. I expect to be a good match. I'm not crazy about the stories that are coming into it, but sometimes with tag team wrestling, it's pretty simple. I'm going to beat you up and beat you up. I believe that the Lucha Bros lost their AAA tag team titles. That's a different promotion down in Mexico to FTR on a call in from Andrade. Now we're just going to have them go out for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Should be a good match. Lucha Bros retaining. I don't see anything that can come in differently for it. Britt Baker, DMD, AEW Women's World Champion against Ty Conti. I think that's pretty self-sufficient. Britt Baker's going to win it. Go from there. You're going to have... This is my bathroom break match. If I did pay money for it, Inner Circle versus Men of the Year at America Top Team. So the Inner Circle is Jericho, happy belated birthday, Sam Guevara, Santana Ortiz, Jake Hager. America Top Team and Men of the Year is going to consist of Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Dan Lambert for American Top Team, Jorge Masvidal, and then I forgot Junior Dos Santos, I believe, is on this. So you're getting a mixture of that UFC kind of fights going on. I don't care for this at all. I'm not crazy about the Inner Circle to begin with. Jorge Masvidal, even though he's a 305 guy, is not my kind of 305 guy. First off, who have you beaten? You have a false title as the BAMF title for anybody who follows combat sports. They did a little showcase of it on Rampage, and I'm just not about it. I feel bad for Ethan Page and for Scorpio Sky because they got kind of booted into this because I guess I'm not good enough to have Dan Lambert, and Dan Lambert's got a kind of like a punchable face, so that's a good thing going to him. Bathroom break match. Inner Circle wins. Sure, whatever. I don't have much passion towards it. You know what I am passionate about, boys? CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Did you gentlemen, watch that promo that I sent you? between the two of them that happened on Rampage on Friday? If not, I would advise you do it, because what matters is sometimes you can have a great match that happens in the ring, and then sometimes you can have a fantastic match and a fantastic other F word feud, because you had a match building into it from promos, interviews, from interactions. And that promo on Friday was just chef's kiss, where Eddie Kingston's like, I'll hit your face off. I don't care about wins and losses. That's my Yonkers, New York accent for Eddie Kingston. And CM Punk's like, you're kind of a bitch. That's basically what he said. Yeah, at the end of the day, he's like, you're kind of like Nikola Jokic. I don't care for you. And they're going around. They brought up the history. A little background on Eddie Kingston, 20-year pro at this. Y'all don't even know his name. I could run with that, man. That is such good storytelling when you think about that, compared to CM Punk, who's like, everybody knows who he is at the end of the day, even guys who are into wrestling. And then
damn, he is all up in his face.
He is all up in his face, and Kingston's going to him. And it's so good.
The comments on YouTube are echoing what you're saying right now.
Because it feels real, man. And that's the thing. Wrestling is like the movies during wartime. You just do it to suspend disbelief and suspend reality and go into a different world. And that's how it felt. And then CM Punk just going and saying, all the guys that you were with Danielson, me, all these other people, Samoa Joe, we wanted more out of you, and you couldn't fulfill that potential. You're fat. You didn't do this. And then Eddie Kingston's just like, you want to know the truth? All those guys in the back there, they don't want you. They want you to go back and retire for another 7 years. I'm like, I can feel that heat, because that's the storyline. That's the soap opera. That's the drama. That's the Jason Morgan, Sonny Corinthos drama right there, baby. That's your Port Charles, your General Hospital. That's your All My Children Up in My. That's your Sábado. Not Sábado. I don't think Pasión de Gavilanes. That's that vibe, man, that you need for those people who like their Latino soap operas going in there. I forgot the word right now because I didn't plan on bringing in Spanish soap operas into life. What is it, Francisco? What do abuelitas watch? Come on.
Novelas.
Novelas. That's our telenovelas, man. That's a novelas coming into it. You had to understand, when we have to flip the switch on cultures, it's tough sometimes. You can't go from there. I think that the match itself, I don't know what the quality is going to be, but the emotion is going to be real. Why? Because another thing I can guarantee you that's going to be in that match, fan contribution. The chanting, the cheering, the booing, the ha. I sort of cry if I hear another "this is awesome" when people are just locking up arms is going to annoy me. But fan investment helps propel top tier matches. And I think that's what's the match itself could be technically a 3, but people are in that stuff. Ooh, up in that chili. If they get a little Jimmy Butler blood in them, that's going to be good. Another match that should be good, but was made on the fly, of course, is going to be CM Punk wins that match, by the way, because there's no way. The same logic of you having like Adam Cole can't lose his first pay-per-view match is the same logic you have CM Punk can't lose his second pay-per-view match, right? But AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. Whoever wins this gets a title shot into the future. Bryan Danielson, formerly Daniel Bryan, still weird to kind of say that name, right? Was originally going against Mox. We talked about last week. Moxley's in rehab. Do your thing, Mox. You'll be fine. Miro came in, murdered everybody in his way. I have loved the Miro, formerly Rusev, who used to be a WWE guy. Redeemer arc. I forgot who he murdered. Orange Cassidy. He just wrecked him. He wrecked it, man. I was like, he was wrecking Ralph. That intensity. The problem is I don't want Miro to lose, but you can't have Danielson losing on his first pay-per-view. So you're really at an odds. It's not going to end in a draw either. So Danielson wins in a match that I think should be fantastic, because I don't remember them ever locking horns with each other in WWE. And then Miro, this whole Redeemer persona has been fantastic. He's been redeeming himself. He was God's favorite champion. And lately, since he's lost the TNT title to Sammy Guevara, he's been doing his promos? Fighting God. He literally has a thing where he goes and says, if you won't answer my calls above, then those below my foot shall be silenced. And I'm like, what is this? I don't know if I sent that to you guys. I think I did. I'm going to find it again, because that was some of the best lines I ever heard. Because he's going to God and saying, if you don't answer me now, I will break every person beneath me. And I'm like, what? Because I'm invested. That's the intensity that I like. Remember, I'm an Art Anderson guy, man. When it comes to threats, he's the enforcer for a reason. He goes up in that chili. Andrew's leaving us. Bye, Andrew. And then last but not least,
he's got important things to do. He's got to go into the college football teleconference. So yeah,
he's a big boss, man. Adam Page versus Kenny Omega. You know the story. Anybody who's been following us for 2 years knows the story. Adam Hangman Page, originally part of the Elite, was in the first main event for, I believe, no, I don't know if it was the first main event, but he was in, was it Double or Nothing? I'm almost certain. But he was the first contestant for the AEW World Championship against Jericho, lost to Jericho. Jericho was champion. Teams up with Kenny Omega as his tag team partner. They go on to win the AEW World Tag Team Championship. They win. They have a successful run. They beat the Young Bucks. They lose the titles. Page wants to get it back, man. He was like, let's do it. We got to get this. Let's go. You can be FTR. And then Kenny's like, no, I don't want to do that. Kenny is like, I'm out. Page is hurt. He wants to get him back. But no, we can't do it like that. He got kicked out of the Elite. And what happens is they went against each other at last year's finals. Kenny Omega wins. Kenny Omega beats Jon Moxley for the championship. That's when Kenny turns heel. Hangman Page disappears for a bit. He ends up becoming the replacement to a degree, I would say, for Brody Lee after Brody's death to guide the Dark Order. They group up, they do everything, but he's afraid to challenge his buddy. He's afraid to challenge his best friend. He's afraid to challenge his tag team partner until one day he gets the courage and he goes and he challenges it, but he puts it on the line. Remember the stipulation, Francisco, in that 10-man match or whatever the hell it was, 10-man tag team match? And if I lose, I convey my title shot. He goes, he disappears, he goes, spends time with his child, he comes back, he wins that chip. And he is going to be challenging Kenny for that title. Oh, man, the match could be good. The storytelling could be phenomenal. The investment of the crowd could be top tier. It's either going to be the crowning moment of Adam Hangman Page to finally be the face of the franchise. Because you got to think, that's a big thing to put somebody in the finals of that first match, like for your first ever title against Jericho of all people. And he had a decent showing. And to let him groom and develop and build 2 years into it to kind of wrestle around elsewhere on the card, have some feuds, get stalled a little bit, but back into it. And against Kenny, you know what Kenny's about with his, originally had his Harley race do, and now I think he's back to looking normal. There's a lot of potential. Unless you want to make it better. Because you always remember the finish, right? That's the Vince McMahon logic. That's the logic of the Kenny Omega dud firework thing to Jon Moxley. But I'm like 99% sure Page is going to win. The story's too good. And also you have to take into account that they don't do a lot of pay-per-views. And I think you would cheapen people to a degree to not have Page win this. And you save it for a Dynamite match, because that might call for more ratings. But hear me out. I just gave you my heart, Francisco, of how great it would be for this man to win the championship of this pay-per-view, but how much better it would be if he just doesn't win it. That heat, man, that heat. Whew. But he's going to win. But I'm just saying, I don't think it would be I do not think it would be a Roman Brock Lesnar WrestleMania thing where Roman seems like he's going to beat him and then loses to Brock and then beats him at SummerSlam with interference. I'm saying it's more or less like, try again, and you finally do it, man. You get that crowning achievement. You have to kind of beat up, but sometimes you can't delay the inevitable. Exactly. Ash lost to everybody.
It took
and the problem
20 years, but yeah.
We were all adults, and I'm sure there was a wrestling, equivalent that I can bring up to the mind. But the problem is I do this stuff a lot on the fly, so I can't give you that off the cuff. Or you had somebody try multiple times and just couldn't get in and finally got over the person. I want to say Rock and Austin, but that wasn't really for the title because Rock finally beat Austin at WrestleMania. Was it 17 or was it after? After 2 straight main events where he lost to Austin. No, I think WrestleMania 17 was when Austin turned heel, so it might have been 18 or 19, but. Needless to say, the heat would be great, but the payoff should be good. So I want to pay $50, man. I don't want to. I just paid $50 for a parking citation today. Don't ask me how. I was over the yellow, apparently. Okay, fine. Yeah. But it happens. It's like the first ticket I've ever had. I'm that safe for the driver because I'm cheap. But, like I said, and I don't have anybody else who likes to watch AEW. So it's like, I can't do it. But I'm very excited. It's a good week for wrestling, man. It's big boy stuff. Good luck, Eddie Kingston. Beat CM Punk. I know it's all fake and everything like that, but I loved your promo. That's all I'll say on that. And that's all I got for you this week on The Cage.
All right. So I think I'm going to end it here because it's lasted us long enough. But everybody, thank you for listening and watching and getting us. And I will edit the audio version of this to be a lot smoother for sure. And McDonald's, you're always welcome to come back if we haven't done well cutting our own promos for your fine products lately. But we'll try. We'll try hard next time. I can't guarantee either of us are gonna get the McRib, but we'll try harder. Okay, so please come back. It's okay. Anyways, I'm out. Bye bye.
You're a punk, Jokic.
You're Parasaurolophus.
Parasaurolophus.